Hi everybody! Welcome to another awesome episode of Ina After Dark. This is a space that I like to use to wind down for the day. Take a deep breath, let everything roll off your back and just get ready to have a nice dinner and then go to sleep and wake up renewed and refreshed. And sometimes I come on and I just tell you a story. Sometimes I inspire you, sometimes I motivate you. So it's different topics every time. And a lot of the time, I like to take this opportunity to record my podcast. So that's what I'm doing right now. This is going to be the episode that is going live next week, because next week I'm planning on going a little bit on vacation. I hope I'm not really going anywhere. It's more like a staycation, but is hi Miranda, I see you there. I'm gonna wave at you. So it's more like a staycation. I am planning on taking some days. Hi Amanda. I'm gonna take some days and take my sons to the beach, maybe do some work. So it depends on the day what we're gonna do next week. But today, I wanted to come and tell you something exciting that happened today. So we have 2 new members in our community that actually had the opportunity to talk to them on the phone this morning, and I invited them to join the group. Both people, I'm not going to put you on the spot, guys, so don't worry. I'm not saying your name, I'm not saying what you do, anything about you. I just want to say that I'm super excited to have you here, and you know who you are because you joined today per my invitation. And super happy that you're here, super happy to have had the chance to chat with you this morning. And both of these people are like kick-ass women, right? Who, and that's as detailed as I'm gonna get into, non-identifiable information. 2 kick-ass women who said that they're not thinking about starting a business and going independent and on their own right now, but it's something they might consider down the line in the future. So I thought I would do this training session to just basically tell them what to prepare for, right? So that they know that when they're ready, what are they going to face? What are the things that I don't want to trip them up. I don't want them to wait so long to start, to realize they can do this sooner if they want to. That's what this whole group is about. That's what all my videos are for. And if you guys are watching this, which I think you should, I might just text you this so you can make sure to watch it, because I'm speaking directly to you guys that just joined. So you can go to the units section of this group. Go to units and then look for Ina After Dark, and all of the Ina After Dark episodes are there. You can also check out the podcast, right? Trailblazing out of corporate life, and just listen to it on your commute. And it's all about this. It's all about what to expect when you start a business, when you go independent. And that's what I wanted to dive into today. So the story with these women is, yes, they want to start it down the line. So I'm going to put something in perspective here, because my message to them, right? I told them this to their face, right? I told them this. I told one that I've had friends, and this is something she's fully aware of course. I have friends who have gotten laid off from their job, even though they had a totally secure job that they had just joined like a year and a half earlier. And, they were totally surprised and blindsided by the layoff. There are other people that I know who, and I'm one of them, who reach the end of their rope at work, and they say, I just can't do this anymore, and they decide to quit, but they don't have anything lined up. They have not given this independence thing any thought, so they're not prepared for it. They're definitely not prepared for it. So they end up just applying to another job and then falling into another job pattern, right? So I told them this: if I could do something different in my career, the canned answer is, well, I shouldn't change anything because everything that I did in my career led me here, right? And I'm very happy with where I am. That is all true. But I'm going to tell you one thing that just it's like an itch, right? That it's like a bother, like something that I keep picking on, because it's a regret that I have. Not that I would have been able to do anything differently. Clearly, I didn't do things differently, but a regret that I have is not having started sooner. So I kind of wanted to put these things into perspective for you guys. The first day that I started working at corporate, I knew that I didn't want to do this. I knew it. And you guys should have seen me, because I still remember from the first 6 months of me working in corporate, I remember saying to myself, I really want to start my own business. I want to do my own thing. And I had all of these ideas. Have you guys ever used Mint? It's like a financial tool online. Like I had that idea first. Like I'm like, okay, I want to create like a Mint. It wasn't called Mint. Like, and I started thinking because I was really into finance at the time. So no, I'm going to create like a finance application, right? And I have a background in computer science, so clearly I was thinking more like technology. I was thinking of apps to create. I was teaching myself how to create mobile apps. Like that's the route that I wanted to go. But I didn't know I had no mentors. I had nobody to follow. I had nobody that had done the same thing. All I had was corporate role models. That's all, right? I knew, like in my gut, that the only way to make money was to climb the ladder, was to get your boss's job, was to continue to excel at what you do and just keep going and keep fighting for those raises and fighting for that vacation time. And eventually I'll quit and go to another job, and just the ladder. That the corporate ladder was the way to make money for me. I had no other examples of people doing something different. So this is where it comes in, like I couldn't have done anything differently because I didn't have any models to follow, right? It was a thing I didn't know I could look it up. So this is like the little perspective that I wanted to draw for you guys. Okay, it just paused for a second. I'm back. I quit my job to do this full time 15 years after I started in corporate. I quit my job 6 whole years after I started my first side business. I quit my job 3 whole years after I learned about online marketing and that this was a thing and that this was a viable business idea. I quit my job 2 months after deciding to work with a coach. And I actually consider my first day meeting with that coach, by the time that I met with her, I told her, hey, I quit my job. I wasn't planning on quitting my job when I first talked to her, but I knew that that was a path forward, is to sign up to work with her so that she can show me, so she can be my example, right? So show me the way. So 2 months after I had that first sales call with her where I said, okay, let me think about it. 2 months later, I was on the phone with her. I had quit my job the previous month. And I said, okay, I want to do this. And I want to do this for real. And I learned a lot from this coach. We stayed together for 6 months. And I stumbled. I followed all her teachings. And I could see that she was having $50,000 launches and that she was doing all this stuff, and she was sharing all this stuff with me, and she was teaching me everything that I needed to know. But I wasn't having $50,000 launches. But I didn't wake up the next day and thought, well, this is not working. I woke up the next day excited. Okay, what's next? I just did that webinar that you asked me to do. I didn't even sell anything. What's next? 5-day challenge? Okay, let's do it. I was excited to do it because I knew that if I weren't working on this, if I weren't doing this for myself, right, knowing that it's a long-term plan, if I weren't doing it, I wish I were. So to me, that whole, not making any money, that whole thing of like stumbling, just struggling to put content out there, struggling for engagement and struggling for all that stuff, it just rolled off my back. I'm not going to say that it wasn't, easy, right? To realize that I'm like, oh shoot, like things are not moving, right? Those are frustrations that one has in their first year. So I was telling them, or at least, I told one of them, that I hear this a lot. People saying, yeah, that thing that you do, the independent thing, that sounds interesting, and I may do it down the line, but you know what? I may just like dip my toe in the water and see how it is. Like maybe I'll try it for a couple months, and if it takes off, well then I'll pick it up. And I'm like, if your thought process is I'm gonna give this a shot for 2 months, then don't do it at all. Because I can just tell you right now, if you decide to do it and just give it a couple months to see if it works, it's just going to be a whole ton of work, and you're not gonna see the returns that you're hoping that it gives you. Right? So if you want to do it just as a hobby because you want something different to do for the next couple months, be my guest. But definitely don't expect a big payday. Don't expect your audience to multiply in a couple months. Don't expect to be making bank with your product. Like these things that I want people to know, that starting a business is not easy and that things need to happen in a certain order, right? For you to really, build an audience and really start to see that business take off. So I came here to talk to my two new community members to tell them, okay, what to expect when you want to go independent. So you guys can think about it now, and then, now you have the information. So keep coming to these In After Dark episodes, keep coming to these podcast episodes, and I'll show you what the behind the scenes is. Like, what are the things that are happening when you're trying to build an audience and get clients and all that stuff. So yeah, so that question of what you would do differently, I don't think I actually answered it. I think I took my own tangent. Marco is my community manager here. You guys, if you see Marco post something, say hi, comment on it, give him a like, tell him he's doing an awesome job. And Marco's just the nicest guy in the world. So he just posted today this question. He said, what would you have done differently with your career if you had had that chance? I'm paraphrasing. And I looked at that question, and like I said, the canned answer is, I would do nothing different, because every action that I took led me here, right? Canned answer. But if I were to be truthful to you and told you the thing that I have a regret about is not having started sooner, is when I see people who are much younger than me, right? And they are already aware of this world. I'm like, wow, by the time you're my age, I'm 38. By the time you're my age, you're going to have an empire. You're going to have thousands of people following you. And that is, where the money is, right? Is monetizing your audience. So I tell everyone, like, don't wait. You start now. A lot of people say, well, I need to have something to promote. I need to have a product. So I'm going to work on my product first and on my website first. And then I'll put myself out there, right? I'm not going to put myself out there unless I have a product. And I'm like, no. How fun would it be, and I'm being sarcastic, how fun would it be to launch your product to zero audience? I'm going to tell you right now, not fun. So what you do first is you figure out who you're talking to and what your message is, and just start putting it out there. You don't have anything to sell. You're starting to speak the language of people who would potentially become your clients. And then once you have a product, you actually have built an audience to tell them, hey guys, I built this. Come and support the cause, right? So you build your online presence first. So why don't we get to the 3 ways to prepare yourself for this kind of business? And these are all like internal education, right? Internal preparation. This is not strategy. This is not like, 1, 2, 3, this is what you do. This is 3 things you need to know and be prepared for before you jump into being an independent agent in your own career. Are you guys ready for this? So, number 1 is to educate yourself, okay? Find people. This is, you guys, I'm giving you like a gold coin of advice right now. This is gold. Find people who you would like to emulate, who you would love their product, you love how they put themselves out there, and like just follow them, study their methods. How are they making money? Create in your mind an example of what you want. Okay, so if you want to get into consulting, do you know anyone who already is where you want to be in 5 years? Okay, follow them, talk to them, figure out what it is that they're doing right, and start to mentalize yourself. Prepare your mind for embodying that type of life and that type of business, right? So find somebody to emulate and educate yourself on how they make money, how often they're posting, what are they posting about, who is their audience, what are they talking about, what are their CTAs, their call to action when they post. Educate yourself on all things how to get an audience online by following people who already do what you wish you were doing in 5 years, okay? So that's number 1, educate yourself. Number 2, prepare for being an actual business owner. Prepare for things falling on you. It's not like employee life, where if things feel crappy, if you're not in the mood, if you, things happen at work that you can point your finger at and say, see, that's why I'm having a crummy time. That person is the reason why I'm not moving ahead in my job. This team, I don't relate to it at all. Like, there's plenty of ways that you can point fingers at why things are not working. When you're a business owner, you let go of pointing fingers and you take personal responsibility and you say, okay, the reason things feel like this is because this and this and this, and I'm going to take care of myself so that I can continue moving forward. The reason I didn't make money in that launch was because I didn't do X, Y, and Z. The reason I feel like I've just been spinning my wheels in, for 3 months and nothing is happening is because I haven't done A, B, and C. And you guys, don't underestimate this, because the power of wanting to point fingers, because this is what you did in corporate, right? This is like, because everything has been external locus of control, right? And that is, keeping that mentality is a really good way to burn out when you're a business owner, because there's very little that you can point fingers at, all right? So you want to start to practice your own accountability and to prepare for that. To prepare that, you know what? It's all on me now. Like, that's it. It's not on anybody else. And to tell you the truth, why this one is one of the hardest things to work on is because we all have a fear of something when we jump into being independent. It could be a fear of failure, or it could be a fear of success, right? A fear of failure could manifest itself. In you don't want to put yourself out there, because if nobody comments on your post, if nobody comes to your webinar, that will be devastating to you, right? That's what fear of failure feels like. Fear of success is something that happens to me quite a bit, because the fact that I have a business and that my hours are off. You guys know what my husband is doing right now? He's downstairs waiting for me to finish this live so he can have food, right? I think we're gonna do fondue tonight. I love my fondue nights with my husband. So he's waiting for me, right? So he can see that I work all the time, that sometimes things fall by the wayside. You know what I did today? I totally didn't put on my calendar my son's camp ended at 3 o'clock instead of 4 o'clock. It's been ending at 4 o'clock every day this week, and it ended at 3 o'clock today. And guess what happened? At 3:30, I get a call from the teachers at the camp saying, are you picking your son up or what? And I'm like, what? So guess what? Things fall off, right? We're not perfect, right? So the reason this one, the accountability piece, is so hard is because we have that fear of failure and that fear of success, right? So my fear of success is because things are falling by the wayside already, and I'm not making $1 million a year. The more money I make and the more success I make, the more trouble there will be at home, right? And the more trouble there is at home, then the higher is the chance that my husband will see the whole thing and say, screw this, I didn't sign up for this and want to leave me. Those are my fears. I'm like putting them on the table for you guys right now, right? If I listen to those fears, to me, like, okay, then the business is not worth it, because my marriage is going to be in jeopardy. So we have to challenge those assumptions. But it's really hard to really put everything on you and be able to push forward anyway, because things will happen that will start to kind of like inform that fear, right? That will start to tell you, you know what, you were right in that fear of failure thing. You were right in that fear of success thing. Why are you doing this? Right? So knowing that you are solely responsible for the business, it can be very scary. But it's not a but. For everybody on the podcast, I'm doing air quotes. It's not a but that you can add to the list of reasons why you wouldn't go independent. You want to start thinking of your vision of why you really want to do this and where you want to get to, and that will move you forward. All the buts that you put ahead of starting, like, I don't have enough experience, I don't have enough expertise, nobody's gonna buy a product from me who doesn't know anything because I've never put myself out there, or it's just going to be really hard, or I have no idea how I would do without health insurance. All these things we can figure out. But if you've already told yourself, these are all good reasons for me to not start, then it's game over. So you take all those buts and you address them. You challenge your assumptions and you address them. And yes, putting responsibility on you, it's hard. It's hard not to point fingers, but it's what leaders do, right? And I know that if you're coming from corporate, you are a leader. That's what your DNA is. So stepping up and being a leader of men and women in the online space is something you can absolutely do. Remove the buts, no, give yourself some accountability and keep on moving forward despite things that happen. So number 3 takes us to the final one. Number 3, this is one where a lot of people struggle. I'm just going to read it the way that I wrote it, and then I'll go ahead and explain it. Do something that you know so much it is your calling that making money is a perk. So I know that's a really long way to say do what you love, right? But there's a reason for this, guys. Because if you decide to go for a job or to create you be an independent agent for stuff that you already do in your corporate life, you need to think about what the repercussions of that are, right? Like, is this truly what you love, right? If the answer is yes, if you would feel like, you know what, if I could do this all year long and I just make a little bit of money just because I know that, the big paycheck is going to come down the line because it's going to be a long road, right? If you are cool with not making any money for a whole year, right? And I'm not saying that's going to happen. You have a year basically to validate your idea, to make money with it, to make sure that it works, right? I'm not saying you're not going to make any money, but you have to be prepared for that, all right? I actually made $19,000 my first year in business. By 3 months, by the first quarter of the following year, of this year, I had already made more than I did in my first year, like the entire first year. So that's how business is. If you continue going at it, it just keeps going up. But getting through that first year, where I've heard entrepreneurs that I follow say out loud that they made $9,000 in the first year, that they made $15,000 in the first year. We heard John Lee Dumas, and you can check out that interview too. It's in the podcast and it's in the in After Dark interviews. John Lee Dumas from Entrepreneur on Fire, he told us on the podcast he made $29,000 his first year. Okay, and then the following year it just blew up. But how do you get through one whole year where you're not seeing the big paycheck, where you're not making even a fraction of what you were making in corporate? How do you pull through? By doing something that you love so much that you feel like it's your calling, and that every time you get online, you don't get likes, you don't get engagement. That's okay, because I know it will come, right? I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna spread the word, and it will happen. If I, of course, make sure you're saying the right message, you're talking to the right people, right? Super important to have your messaging right. But it's okay if you have a small audience to start and there isn't a lot of engagement there. To that point, right? Anytime you guys comment on a post, anytime you guys press a like on a video or press a like on a post, it gives me fuel to keep on going. I love to see that. And when you guys are in business, you're going to notice like how important that feels, right? To get that validation, to have people hear you out and say, yes, I like it, and here's a comment. It's like a little hit of dopamine, right? It's like, yes, like this is great, like things are working, things that people are engaging is great. But you guys, if I were counting my likes and my comments and I was basing my business based on that, you guys, like what would be of my business right now? So number 3 is all about doing something that you love so much that if you spend a whole year talking about it and tweaking it and trying new launch ideas and creating new products, and like if all that stuff doesn't excite you without the money piece, then think about something else to do. All right? The money should be a perk. And by the way, I'm not saying don't focus on money. This is a business. You should be making money. But in the process of creating products and figuring out how to make money with it should be exciting, is my point. It shouldn't be like, hey, like me, I made no money in my first webinar. I made $400 the next time I launched, right? Like it's like nothing in the grand scheme of things when I was making over 6 figures in corporate, right? All this stuff. So I could have just taken the money as the validation point and said like, hey, I'm not making enough money, then this is not worth it. And just throw my hands up in the air and just quit. So you have to make sure you're doing something that you will stick with for the long haul, regardless of how much money you make, regardless of how much engagement you're getting on social media, and that all of it feels like an exciting puzzle, right? Like, yes, I can do this. And that didn't work. Okay, I'm going to try this other thing. Let me see what that other influencer is trying, because I would like to do something similar. Let me listen to some podcasts where they're going to teach me more of how to do this. Let me read up other people's blogs. Let me sign up for programs where I can get something out of it, where I can meet a network, where I can learn from a coach. All of these things are options that should be exciting to you. If doing all those things does not sound exciting to you without the paycheck, reconsider your idea. Do something that really excites you. So that is number 3, right? Do something, like expect 0 to happen the first year, but do something that you're so excited about that you are just eager to try it, to try different things and to create different products, right? So those are basically the 3 things that I wanted to educate you on, that I wanted to tell you about today, and about the importance of starting soon. Especially because of what I told you, that your job is really never secure. You may think that it is, but it's not. If you're feeling like people at work, like you're not really like meshing with them, right? That you're not really meshing well with them. If you feel like your boss is overlooking you for promotions, so you feel like it's all an uphill battle, like if you feel like you're just struggling all the time, which is kind of like how I felt. I was a star performer in my job, and I still had to struggle to get those raises and had to quit jobs in order to get paid what I was worth somewhere else, right? So if you're feeling all of these things, I want you to know that you should not wait until you've reached the end of your rope to start educating yourself on what going independent would be like. So just like, it may take you a year to find another job just by going through job posts and by learning about the different companies and learning about other roles and taking tests to get certifications and things like that. As much as you're working on your career to prepare for being able to live whenever you want, you should be focused on, if this is something that you want to do, and that's a big if, right? This is not for everybody. But if this is something that you would be interested in doing, getting online and building an online audience and really putting yourself out there as an expert and just get your clients to flow to you, then start preparing yourself now. Educate yourself now. Follow the right people now. Find out how much are coaching services, right? I was having a call with someone today who was not ready to do this yet. Like, she could be like a good year away from even trying to do this if she decides to do it. But she was asking me about prices. I'm like, that is exactly what she should be doing. She should be finding out what are the different options. How do you make this viable, right? Who do you learn from? What do you do in a coaching session? So that's the stuff that I wanted to share with you so you guys are prepared. And so if you're wondering about, like, is having a coach one of your first steps or not, I'm gonna take you guys to download the latest guide that I created. It's called the Salary Replacement 1 Year Roadmap. And 1 year is an acronym, ONEYEAR. In that guide, you guys, I synthesized all the important stuff that you would need to do in your first year to do and to believe, because there's some things that I put in that guide that are not action driven, that are just mindset driven. So I put in that guide the things that you need to believe and the things that you would need to do in order to raise your salary within 1 year so that you can quit whenever you want. So you already have a business, so you're already a CEO in your mind. So I'm gonna take you guys to download that guide. So go to inacoveney.com/join, and that gets you, to receive my wonderful emails that I love so much, because I love talking to my audience and telling you guys behind the scenes stories and telling you why I do certain things. And also, since I get you on my mailing list, you can reply to those emails at any time, and I'm the one manning that mailbox. So anything that I get, I immediately reply back. So you can just email me that way. So inacoveney.com/join to download that guide to know what to do for your first year. So if you guys are still out there, say hi and let me know that you're here. I see Elizabeth, Rebecca. I see Marco said thank you. I see Jane. Jane, this is great, Ina. Thank you, Jane. And thank you for the like and thank you for the comment. That's fuel, you guys. Like, one of my bosses used to say, this machine runs on, what did he say? This machine runs on praise, right? Like that's fuel. Thank you so much, Jane. I'm really glad that you enjoyed it. Hi, Mirejana. Hi, everybody. So, like I said, this is going to be the next podcast, episode 54. And if you have not checked out episode 53, I had my good friend Jeremy Lipkowitz come and talk to us about it. You guys, hear me out. It's about meditation. But before your eyes totally glaze over, I've been telling him this from the beginning because he kind of does like a little bit of market research in our group, and he says, like, what about these titles for blog posts? And I keep telling him, do not say the word meditation to me. I don't do meditation. I don't it's just not a thing that I do, not a thing that I'm familiar with. And the way he explained the benefits of it and how he does it, because he's not like a woo-woo spiritual, like religious kind of meditation coach. He's a scientist, so he's a very like pragmatic approach kind of meditation to get over your inner self-critic. And I'm like, it sounds like that's something that I should be doing. So if you haven't listened to that, it's episode 53 of the podcast. It's right before this one. And under units, you're going to see it under listen from the experts or hear from the experts. And I put his interview down there. You can also go to inakoveny.com/53. Actually, that was 53? Yeah. inakoveny.com/53 will take you to the video version of that interview and like the edited version, so that I removed all the technical glitches that we had in our last, in our live conversation. So if you want to hear it without the glitches, everything fixed, go to inakoveny.com/53. And Mirejana says it's so good. Mirejana heard it, you guys. Mirejana is telling you it's good. And I see Jane giving me the likes. Jane, you are the best. Jane, you should show up to every live and give me those likes. Like makes me feel so good that you're here. All right, guys. So I think I have left my husband for long enough. It's time to go and give him some fondue. Plus, it's getting really hot in this room. I'm on the third floor of a Victorian house, and you guys can see me glistening already. Like, it's getting really hot in this room. My husband has not put in the air conditioners yet. Not that he would put one here. It's gonna be an interesting summer in the office of In a Nutshell. All right, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and happy July 4th. It's coming up. What are you guys doing for vacation? Come to the Facebook group and tell me about it. inakoveny.com/Facebook. Let's chat. And also, if you like this podcast episode, if you're watching this, take a screenshot of it, post it on social media, and tag me on it. Like, post it on your Insta stories, on your Instagram post. Post it out there, tag me so that I can say thank you and so that other people can hear this message. This was truly like an introduction to becoming an independent agent. All right, guys, I hope it was helpful. If you're watching on replay, leave me a comment, and I will talk to you next time. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.